We knew that getting the specimen down from the ceiling of the mammals hall was going to be very, very difficult, especially the skull, because the skull is such a large thing. Although it's heavy and it looks robust, it's actually quite a fragile thing. The removals team did a fantastic job, given the fact that it's so heavy and so fragile. The only space that we had available to us that was large enough to take the skull was one of our large basement storerooms. Now, the storeroom contains a lot of the taxidermy that used to be on display at the museum. A lot of it dates back to the early 19th century. And as well as the taxidermy, we have specimens from the museum skeleton research collection, big specimens that needed a large space to hold them. It's always a pleasure to take people into the storeroom. You know when you go through the doors, it's going to be quite an impressive sight for people. I think it's going to be a perfect space for the conservators to work. Can we just hang on a sec?
There's an area we were a bit concerned about where a crack had opened very slightly. Here, going along here, and then along there. So we were watching that especially closely.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was absolutely fine. It's actually stronger than I thought it would be.
There's still a lot of consolidation, there's still repair work that needs to be done. There's going to be a lot of people out here working on this over the next few months.
Learning more about whales, we know that they have a lot of natural oil inside the bone in life, and even when they're defleshed and prepared out, that oil is still there and will leak out and seep out. And the challenge to clean it means that it might take quite a while, and we have to be fairly careful with that.
The oil patches that you see now, as we've been removing it, we've kind of discovered that it is revealing details of condition as well. So it is covering things like hairline cracks, so it is important to see what's underneath.
So while work continues behind the scenes with the skull, we're also going to be able to share some of the blue whale skeleton, some of our conservation work with the public when they visit the museum.
We've got bones in 3 different locations at the moment. We've been able to bring some of them here. This is where most of the conservation work will take place. But the skull was just too big to get into the building. We'd hoped to bring it into this conservation studio, but we just couldn't get it through the door. But we've got some really interesting bones here. So we've got the two big jaw bones and some of the flippers, the forelimbs of the whale.
Conservation is usually quite a hidden thing. No one ever sees it. It just happens out of hours and in basements. So.
Okay guys, over here you can see our brilliant team of conservators. They're currently working to prepare the skeleton so it's ready to go into Hintze Hall. So this is your chance to ask our conservators any questions you might have. What is that?
So that over there is one of the whale's pectoral fins. Basically it's flipper, and as you can see it actually does have the same anatomy as all other mammals. The only difference is it has 4 fingers instead of the normal 5. I do think it's becoming more common in schools, but certainly when I first started conservation it wasn't something that a lot of people knew about.
In the next few months, as we finish the conservation work, we'll learn more as we go. We've already learned where the really strong parts are and where the areas are more fragile. There's more secrets to unlock from that specimen, and that gives us great pleasure.